G'day YouTube viewer, g'day bikers. I watch a lot of motorcycle content online, and something I've noticed over the last 6 to 12 months is what appears to be growing interest in a retro looking bike. I'm talking about the Kawasaki Z900RS. There definitely appears to be growing interest in this modern classic roadster despite its production run starting in late 2018. As I mentioned already, that's 6 years ago, and I wonder how many models can lay claim to that. I'd be interested in your comments on what your thoughts are. Is it the look, feel, sound, or nostalgic interest? Personally, I think it may be a combination of all those things, but I'm no expert, and even though I've been riding many decades, I only regard myself as an average rider. What I do know is there are other modern classics out there that have more power and ride more sportily, and there are many retros that look like bikes from a slightly older or newer era. But this bike has something special that sees the interest in it only grow, and I have no doubt it will make the decade of production milestone and may even grow more in popularity. They say if you are onto a good thing, don't change it. And I hope Kawasaki doesn't, because as we head into the 7th year of production, it almost seems like interest in reviews and ownerships are only increasing. I have a few theories about the love for the Z900RS. I think it may be a reflection of how the market for modern classic retro-inspired bikes is shifting from those based on styles from the 50s and 60s to the 70s and early 80s. I definitely think that is where the market is heading. In this country anyway. And for Kawasaki, it was a case of producing the right bike at the right time. Not taking anything away from the Japanese manufacturer, I think this is still a great bike that they absolutely nailed the design and execution of by taking a modern bike in the Z900 and tweaking it to pay honour and homage to one of the great eras in motorcycling, when Japan revolutionised the industry with innovation and a quest to be the best. Prior to them taking on the world, there was already a highly competitive industry in that country, where only the fittest and best survived, leaving us the big four brands we know today. So at the time, the 70s, they were ready for any competition the international market could provide because they had the efficiencies developed to be and remain at the top of their game. I should note, they obviously looked at the great British bikes of the 50s and 60s for their inspiration, and that should never be overlooked or underestimated in my book. Anyway, as I said before, I'm no expert. What do you think? Is the interest in retro motorcycles shifting to more recent models and decades? Had Yamaha already predicted that by making its XSR retros based more on bikes from the late 80s and early 90s? Or are different people interested in different eras? I guess it might come down to when you grew up and what you craved in your formative years. Or does that not even matter? Is it more if a bike with heritage or non-heritage looks and sounds great, that is its appeal? Does it matter what era a design concept comes from? Is a great looking and riding bike just a great bike regardless? While you're pondering that, I'm going to go through the specs of the Z900RS and then try and sum up why I like it so much. Of course, there is a higher spec SE version that many YouTubers showcase on their channels, but for this video I'm going to focus more on the affordable standard model that is almost as good and only really lacks Öhlins suspension and Brembo brakes. With the kind of riding I do, I doubt I would notice much difference if I did have those. I just love my 2020 model for what it is and as it is. I've already added the accessories I want, and there will be no aftermarket exhaust for me, as I think it sounds great as it is and is not overly loud. Okay, so the maximum power is 82 kilowatts or 109 brake horsepower, and that's made at 8,500 RPM. Maximum torque is 98.5 Newton meters at 6,500. The motor is tuned different to the Z900, which has 125 horsepower at 9,500 RPMs and 98.6 Newton meters of torque at 7,700. So the torque comes in lower down to suit the roadster style nature of the Z900RS. It is a 948cc inline 4 with double overhead cam and 16 valves. And it's liquid cooled with a 6-speed transmission. The Z900RS has a trellis high tensile steel frame derived from the Z900, but the subframe does differ at the rear. Front suspension features 41mm inverted forks with compression and rebound damping and spring preload adjustability. The rear suspension is a gas-charged monoshock with rebound damping and spring preload adjustability rather than dual shocks like the original Z1s had. Some people feel the Z900RS should have dual shocks and 4x4 exhausts, but I think handling is better with a monoshock, and the great-looking 4x1 pipe is significantly lighter than a 4x4 would be. And there is an aftermarket option if you would like the bike to look even more like the original. Just quickly, front wheel travel is 120mm and 140mm at the rear. And for those interested in such things, the rake is 25 degrees and trail 98mm. The Z900RS rolls on 17-inch rims with a 120 section tyre at the front and 180 at the rear, which of course is wider than the bikes of the 70s. Re-braking, there are dual 300mm discs at the front with dual radial mounted monoblock 4-piston calipers and a 250mm disc with a single piston caliper at the rear. The seat height is 835mm, which at 181cm I can flat foot on. And the curb weight is a reasonable 214 kilograms. The fuel tank is 17 litres and the bike has just enough tech to make it a modern classic, retaining the look and feel of the original Z1 from 50 years ago while not being overly intrusive. The rider modes on the Z900RS are controlled with your right wrist, and I like the fact it is a little snatchy because that adds to its character and gives the bike with such a smooth engine more of an edge while riding and changing gears. It definitely is a little jerky at low speeds and under hard acceleration, which makes you focus more on what you're doing and not letting your mind get distracted from the subject at hand, which is enjoying a fun bike and a fun ride safely. I know the newer models are smoother and you can get a remap, but I'm happy with mine as it is. The Z900RS comes with an assistant slipper clutch, traction control, ABS braking, fuel injection, dual throttle valves, and an acoustically tested sound-tuned exhaust to replicate the magic sound of the original Z1. They've certainly done a great job with that while keeping the overall weight down. So why do I like this bike so much? I just love its appearance, good-natured attitude without being over the top, and its intoxicating audio. It is also comfortable to ride, and for me it is very relaxing to ride. But yes, I know a beast does lurk within, and for those who like more spirited riding, it can definitely handle that. The one thing I do wish it had was a higher top gear, spaced out more like an overdrive, because when I do need to take it on a highway, I think it would cruise better at lower revs, which would improve fuel efficiency. But that's a very minor personal point on what is a brilliant bike to ride. I would love to hear from other riders in the comments below about their experience, and I would love to hear from anyone into motorcycles about what they think of this bike. How does it stack up compared to the competition, and why do you think the interest in the Z900RS remains so high? Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to you joining me in the next video. Ride safely and have a great day.